Let me tell you a story about Buy Box. Okay. I've watched so many videos on YouTube. I've watched and scoured over people that want to talk about what is the perfect buy box for a pad split. And I see this beautiful little, one pagers on, 3-bedroom, 2-bath minimum, 1,800 square feet. You don't want to have a septic tank and you don't want to have a neighborhood that has an HOA. Yes to all of those things. The question I would ask new investors, do you know why we say these things? Do you know why when people say you want to have no septic tank? That's kind of logical, right? Is that if you take a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house that's built on a mechanical septic tank to service the 2 bathrooms and the 3 people that could live there, or 3 to 6 people that could live there, and now we turn in the living room and the dining room and possibly a garage. Now the septic tank is not mechanically set up with the leach fields and everything else to handle 6, 7, 8 people living in that house. Don't get caught up in chasing specifics because you have to understand the process. While these things are minimally required, you need to understand the nuance of why these rules are put into place. You need to have a better understanding of how they impact your business downstream. So no, we don't like septic tanks. Do we have hosts that have septic tanks? Absolutely. With every rule, there's an exception. We've got a wonderful host in Atlanta. He was one of our first ones, and he had an entire portfolio. And a lot of them were outside of Metro Atlanta. They had septic tanks. So what did he do? He had to change his operational philosophy on how he managed the septic tanks. But in the normal scheme of things, if that's not what you're used to, and if you're a new investor and you're looking at houses, don't buy a septic tank. Why? Because you're the one buying the property. And I promise you, there will be other properties that fit all your needs. Just keep swiping. Have an opportunity to go put a better deal in front of you. Do not suffer from FOMO or FOBO, fear of missing out, or fear of a better offer. Buy what your business needs. Okay? So what are the things we don't like in our buy box? We don't like terrible parking scenarios. Some people, hey, my house is real close to a bus line. I don't need parking. What if you have members that have cars that want to live close to there? No parking? Well, that reduces the number of customers you can have. What are we in the business of? Filling rooms, keeping members in the rooms. So poor parking spots, bad neighbors, HOAs. Why do we not like HOAs? And in some states, I have hosts that are in Houston, Texas. They tell me they ignore the HOA laws because those HOAs are not as stringent and they're not as legally binding as some other cities. I personally would just choose a property that's not an HOA. Avoid it. Why put yourself in a pickle for a fight later that's going to come back and jeopardize your business? As Charlie Munger says, it's not about being the most innovative and doing all these bells and whistles. It's about identifying what are the things in your business that are going to kill your business. Getting a lien from the HOA that says stop doing co-living in shared housing, that's a deal killer. So let's not do that, right? We can avoid that situation. There are plenty of houses out there in the markets that you're looking in that don't have to be an HOA. Don't force feed a bad deal. And if ones that come to me and I have other investors like, oh, I've got this creative financing deal, but it's only in this HOA, but the entry fee is so low. Great. You can go buy that property, but you better be prepared for the backlash and the downside risk of what you bring in. My investment philosophy is reduce risk. De-risk where you can and give yourself the biggest opportunity to make solid revenue that's predictable. What else do we not like in the buy box? Not a big fan of pools because it's just more additional maintenance and it's more additional insurance. It's not that I don't want to provide an experience of a pool. That's a line item of my business. I know plenty of hosts that are in Arizona and Florida and they have pools and they make it work. Every rule has an exception. They accepted that risk going into it. Poor parking, not a big fan of. Houses that, that fall outside of our parameters. If you're trying to jam in 8 bedrooms in a 1,200 square foot house, just ask yourself, would you want to live there? Here's another quick tip for people to consider in their buy box. If you have a realtor that you're working with is trying to sell you a house in a neighborhood that you do not know of, ask that realtor to go sit in the driveway at 9:30 at night on a Friday or Saturday night and call you for 35 minutes and get on the phone with you. Have them answer the question, hey, if my daughter were to live in this house, do you think she'd be safe there? Why would we want to buy a house that's a fantastic deal on an Excel spreadsheet, but then when we actually go sit in the driveway, it's scary as hell? When I have investors that come to me and they say, hey, this property, it was a fantastic deal. All the numbers made sense, but I'm not making any money. And we go look at the occupancy and we talk to the members who are there. They move in on a Friday, they move out on a Saturday. They move in on a Tuesday, they move out on a Thursday. Why? And the feedback is, I don't feel safe. The neighborhood is really scary. We are in the business of providing safe, quality, affordable housing for our members that want to move in and stay over a period of time so they see value in what they're paying us for the rental room with all utilities and amenities included. But now when you take out the safe part, I don't care how much value you have. Nobody wants to stay there. So bathrooms are really important. When you get into the granulars and you walk through these properties in the buy box, you want to consider the ease of conversion. A lot of houses that have multi-stairs and multi-levels and split levels, the conversions of those are really, really difficult. There's some other ones that people will tell you. So, little nugget to consider. If you're in Florida or if you're in a market in Texas where you're on raised concrete foundations, that gives you easy access underneath the floorboards. So, if you want to increase the number of bathrooms, it's cheaper. If you're in Florida and it's a ranch style without any basements and you have to punch into the concrete to add in more piping, it's really expensive. These things make a difference. So, the houses that you're setting up for, if you can't envision the business that's running consistently for 3 or 4 or 5 years without issue, you're probably going to end up losing money in that deal or struggle to be cash flow positive because those properties run the full length of time. You have to understand, if I get disruption in revenue, whether my neighbors complain and go to the code enforcement, where the parking situation doesn't work, where for some reason the bathrooms collapse. If I have a 8-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, which we've seen a lot of in our first generation of houses, what happens if one bathroom breaks? I've heard hosts say, like, yeah, I don't live there. I know, but your paying customers do. And then I've even heard worse scenarios where a washing machine breaks and they're like, that washing machine's under warranty. So it takes them 2 weeks to go process this claim with their insurance company or their warranty. So what about the 8 members in the house? Can they not wash clothes for those 2 weeks while you're sitting there arguing with your... These are all different things to consider, but think about it from the lens of the person living in the house. It's really important. Here's to you. Welcome to being here. Welcome to continuing your education. My mentors, the ones that I rely on, are constantly learning. Take inspiration from everything around you. Ask, ask, ask. Keep putting yourself in rooms with other people so that your education continues to grow. Welcome to CoLivingiQ. Welcome to becoming a co-living operator. I'm super excited for you to join this journey. Congratulations.